We expect to hold a daily briefing every day for the rest of the week at 1 o'clock. That's our goal. That's what we're going to be shooting for. That may adjust as certain meetings come up and the attention of our leaders are needed elsewhere, but we're going to shoot for that 1 o'clock time frame. The location of those news conferences will vary, so make sure that you are getting those emails and you're monitoring that. We will not be here tomorrow, more than likely. For today's news conference, we will have Mayor Kara Spencer give us an update on the city's response. There's going to be important information relayed by the city's fire department. The police department will provide an update from Chief Tracy, and then we are going to get an update from Ameren related to power restoration. For newsrooms that are watching right now, please pay attention to Chief Jenkerson's information that's going to be relayed. We need that information relayed to our community as quickly as possible. So just take note of what Chief Jenkerson is going to be providing today so we can start relaying that information. Thank you guys very much. Here's Mayor Kara Spencer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. As you all know, we were very concerned about another extreme weather event last night. It was not, thankfully, as bad as we anticipated or feared it would be. While we recognize so many families have withstood even more damage coming into their properties as a result of that, we're thankful to say we don't have any reports of further damage or casualties as a result of that. That was our biggest fear, and we're grateful to learn that today. However, obviously the rain is causing immense amount of stress on buildings and for the families involved. There is a tremendous need for additional supplies that is ongoing, tarps, as well as the great people in the community. We're working hard to get these things out there, but we certainly have a tremendous amount of ongoing and growing need as we continue to go through this disaster. We cannot have this kind of recovery without, of course, the federal government stepping up. And I want to really, really thank Governor Kehoe as well as Senator Schmidt and Josh Hawley for coming out and backing us up in our ask for that federal assistance. Thank you. A few updates on where we are today. We have done an assessment of what funds are available locally that we can redirect to start to make recovery out of our ARPA funds and other funds on housing, et cetera. So that is a good thing. We're looking at at least 10 to $20 million at this point on that front. We have also, as you know, taken steps to adjust, not just adjust, we have taken steps to rectify the procedures and policies as it's associated with our deployment of the tornado sirens. I issued an executive order this morning that very clearly defines that process. The fire department has been a tremendous partner in redefining that. We have issued that this morning, and I have full confidence moving forward that the fire department will be deploying the tornado sirens reliably, effectively, and immediately as required and directed to save to protect the community. I also want to say we are in the process of automating that system. Within a year, there will not be a need to have a human being press the button. That will be an automated system that will be in place within a year. Because at the end of the day, the siren failure should have never happened, and it never will happen again. A few other things, starting tomorrow, starting today, the National Guard is on site. They are conducting the necessary evaluations with our office, city departments, the chief of police and other officials to understand what the need is. As I've mentioned before, in order for the National Guard to come here, we have to supply a very, very specific ask, and that requires a pretty comprehensive assessment of the need. We are in the process of conducting that on site with the National Guard today. As of tomorrow, SEMA, the State Emergency Management System, and the U.S. Small Business Administration will be on the ground in the Impact Dome for 3 days. 3 days, and that will be ongoing, doing preliminary damage assessment. This is critical work that is outlining the process of submitting the request for national disaster declaration, okay? In addition to that, we are working to secure teams of building inspectors. These are experienced folks in the tornado scene that will help us perform the disaster related work to assess every single building in the zone. That is going to not only help us to identify which ones are safe, which ones are not safe, and what the damage, what the scale is, so we can start to assess the real damage here. This data will be going in and be used by the governor to make that federal declaration disaster request. And as you know, this has just been a tremendous and ongoing effort. I can't overstate the work the community partners have been doing in addition to the city workers. We were out this morning. We're talking about 100 folks from forestry, parks, etc., street department. Everyone is out, all hands on deck. They have been since this disaster. The response from our city workers is unprecedented, unbelievable response. Our first responders have continued to do a tremendous lift to make sure that we haven't had serious incidents since the tornado, and the community has come out in droves. I am so proud, enormously proud of the community response that we've seen since Friday. Thank you all. And I'm going to turn it over, Fire Chief Jenkerson.
Good afternoon, Chief Jenkerson, St. Louis Fire Department. Since last evening, the fire department has reviewed every protocol, every procedure that was in place. We are establishing new protocols and new procedures. The fire department, we're about redundancy and resiliency. We cannot have a failure at any point in any type of policy or any type of mechanical device. We have to have backups. With that, we brought in the National Weather Service. They were on site this morning. We went through every piece of equipment that we have at Fire Alarm Dispatch to make sure that everything was operational. Anything that we thought was marginal, we're having it replaced. The contact system, like I mentioned, redundancy. I wanted a minimum of 3 contact points. Right now we have 4. We have text, we have email, we have a phone call. We also have what's called a NAWAS system, which is a secured line directly from the National Weather Service that will notify us of impending issues coming in. So we are also set up training for this week for all members to make sure that everybody is on the same page, including the National Weather Service, as how this system will be activated. So that will be ongoing. We will put out written procedures, which we are working on right now. Who's next?
You.
Who's next?
I believe it's. I just want to reiterate my full confidence in this system, Chief. Thank you.
You're welcome. Chief Tracy.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mayor. So we're still going to continue with the curfews, 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. Continue to have our officers work 12-hour tours, not just in the impact area, but also throughout the city and each district and all the specialized units, all hands on deck, and action makes us more efficient and gives us more coverage both inside and outside the impact zone. And the importance, I've been asked questions, has there been any curfew violations? Well, we had 2 earlier this morning in the overnight. And that happened after there was a burglary on 5800 block of Persian. Elderly couple heard some noise in their residence. Back door was forced open. They were able to call 911. We had teams out there. We responded. Nothing was taken. Did a canvass of the area, and we're able to pick up a 15-year-old and a female and a 17-year-old male that should not have been in the area. Not sure if they're responsible for that, but we're going to continue to stay diligent and vigilant on making sure people that don't belong in the area are not going to be in the area. It's critically important. Secondly, we just had our first copper wire theft earlier this morning. We made an arrest on that individual. He admitted to it and says he's been doing it throughout the city and looked for an opportunity. But the importance of making sure that we stay on top of this is because as Ameren's trying to lay the wire and do things, if we have individuals that are cutting, splicing wire, there goes the electric, slows us down, makes it, people need this for medical needs. They need to keep things cold, food, everything else. So any individual, if you're going to come in and take advantage of this situation, we're going to hold you accountable. And we're going to make sure that we bring you to justice. We're not going to have this in this area. We're not going to have looting, and we're not going to have wire theft, and we're not going to have come at people who are vulnerable right now, and we're going to make sure that we're out there. That's why we're going to continue to have our command post that's out there, and we're going to be there and as long as it needs to be. And our officers are going to continue to do these tours to make sure at a time that I can draw it down, but the time isn't now because we got so much more work to do. So that's where we're at. And then we also had an accident earlier this morning with our District 2 officer, not part of this whole detail here, but was transporting a prisoner to North Patrol as an overflow from where we put our prisoners. He got into an accident, four-way stoplight. He waited. When he went through, somebody ran through the four-way stop sign. The officer's going to be okay, and so is the prison. They were checked out at the hospital, and that person also admitted to fault running through a four-way stop sign. So I know there was a couple of questions on that, and I can answer that afterwards if anybody wants to know more details. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Aaron for a report.
Appreciate you. Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Brittingham, and I am the Senior Director from Ameren, Missouri, who oversees the North Metro Operating Center, located just a few blocks from here. And I will take this opportunity to offer a brief restoration update. I am pleased to report that we have more than 2,300 workers on the job today, some of which you all will see right behind you. Very impressive. And I'm also happy to report that we have more on the way, and we will be here as long as it takes to restore every customer who can be restored. And as you know, the damage to our system is just tremendously extensive, including more than 350 broken poles and thousands of spans of down conductor. And as of noon today, we have restored power to 90% of customers since Friday's violent weather. And we sincerely appreciate your patience as we safely work to restore service. Thank you.
Before we take questions, I'd like to invite the fire chief for an important announcement.
I want to make sure everybody pays complete attention to this. The fire department will be testing the system today, the weather system, at 3 p.m. This is going to be an ongoing test because we're going to test several parts of the operation system. So at 3 o'clock, it will be tested. So please spread that word as soon as you can. But at 3 o'clock, we will be testing, and it should last about 20 to 30 minutes. Thank you.
Any questions?
Mayor,
Yeah.
you mentioned, the faith in the fire department and, the ongoing testing. Do you still have faith in SEMA, and have there been any personnel changes?
We haven't had any personnel changes. I have faith in our entire team. Our team is robust. We have SEMA, we have the state, we have a whole host of partners here on the ground, and I have absolute faith in our system. And I do have faith in the fire department, especially now that we've outlined the protocol. The protocol was really the problem here. I want to reiterate that. Not having a clear delineation of where the buck stops, that was the problem. We have done that. We have rectified the issue, and I have confidence in the system moving forward.
One quick question. I'm not sure if this will be
Yeah.
for you or for Chief or Ameren even. What's the status of getting the street lights, back up online, the stoplights, things like that?
Yeah, I'll speak to that just real quickly because some of it does have to do with Ameren getting the power back on, but you've probably seen that our light crews have been out all day since first thing this morning, restoring as many lights as they could. We are all hands on deck on that front to make sure that the signals are up and running. MoDOT has offered to come in. Thank you. We are trying to pull in all partners we can to make sure that the signals are safe and working again.
Have like a deadline, or we're thinking maybe by Friday or anything like that?
We're hoping to have some outlines. Again, we're doing what we can.
Yeah, we were expecting more of a formal report into what exactly went on Friday. I think I could speak for all of us. We're grateful we got interest sooner, and we expect more of a full new report today on that internal one.
On the internal, are we with regards to the tornado siren?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know that we're conducting a full investigation internally. I will say that. Will we have the answers today? I don't know the answer to that, but there is a protocol. There was a protocol that was put in place in 2021. We are looking to share that today. I believe we're sharing that protocol, what that was. How the breakdown where the breakdown actually took place is something we are still doing an internal investigation on, but the protocol should at least be available today.
Okay.
Sarah Russell's back at headquarters right now.
The news expected into what happened?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. We're open to it, certainly. I think it's a valid question. Thank you.
And the siren's been working properly with those 5 deaths been avoided?
I don't know the answer to that. You know, the sirens are really and very specifically designed to address and alert people that are outside to come in and seek shelter. They're really not designed, the purpose of the sirens is not to alert people that are inside a dwelling. That's what those notifications are for. So I can't say the answer to that. I will say that the city was notified at, I think, 2:34. The tornado had hit the ground within minutes, a very small number of minutes. The loss of life is tragic. I can't predict whether or not that happened, but certainly the failure to have the sirens go off is a failure. And we have rectified the protocol, rectified the issue.
Would there be any type of legal action against them because of the death?
I can't speak to that. I don't know the answer to that right now.
To your question,
Yeah.
Chief Tracy, be more specific about the ARPA money that you're talking about tapping into and what the process will be.
We don't know the process right now. We have asked CDA, the Community Development Agency, and other departments to take a look at what funds that we had from ARPA. We know that, as you remember, they're all obligated, okay, which could be pivoted and have some application here under their obligation to address some of the specific and urgent needs that we have right now as the result of the tornado. So we are
Hold
See.
it, hold it.
See.
We're going in order. Hold it. Channel 5. Keep very safe.
Obviously, you mentioned the accident. It was just right back here with something running a red light. I was speaking to people at the gas station right there saying they're concerned about even trying to cross the street. They don't feel safe if people running those red lights. How important is it that people observe traffic laws and don't make the situation?
Well, it's certainly an issue we've had even before this tornado, and it's something that's been in the news. And looking how we can try to slow people down. You're seeing some of the dividers that are being put out, especially up in this neighborhood. And we're looking at all means to start changing the behavior of what people are driving. I have seen a lot of people really complying with this four-way stop sign, a lot more than I expected. And I want to congratulate everybody for the positive. There are some examples of talking about that accident where some things can happen. We got to be very careful, look both ways, and make sure that we're being careful when we cross these streets. And I ask the public, be understanding of what we're going through. And you know, this is a tragedy we're going through, a natural disaster, and people to be patient, not lose your patience, drive carefully, and understand that we're all going through this together. But I am proud of a lot of good things are happening, and we can't have so many circumstances, and we want to make sure we're preventing them. And to the public, if you can get the word out, let's just be more careful in these areas because the lights are out in a lot of these
We'll just do a
intersections.
bonus. Maria came election and work around.
Mayor, are supplies still needed? Like, absolutely. Supplies are absolutely needed. We are working right now. We've got a truckload of food going up to O'Fallon, arriving around 3 p.m. today. We know that there's a huge need for groceries, food on the ground, water, but of course, all the building materials to get these buildings safe. I mean, and to protect people's personal belongings, their life, their entire homes from any additional weather, from looters and things like that. Securing property is something that we're absolutely have a tremendous and overwhelming, frankly, need for supplies to be able to do here. And we're looking to centralize the donations and the distribution of those so that we make sure that we get them out to not just a few people, but everyone who needs them. And so I know that we've had some patience here. Thank you for that as we really get those contributions streamlined into an organized distribution point.
So
Guys, about the viral.
So I think keep in mind we're going to be doing daily updates. So we'll be able to talk.
See everything Sarah Russell said, so I can't speak to that. But I'd be curious to learn. And then it was the fire department or the fire office. I'm not going to speak to that. I haven't seen your point, but I can speak to it later once we've kind of identified what you're speaking to. I don't want to speak to something I'm not specifically sure what was said.
Obviously,
It is a very sensitive issue. I want to be very, very accurate in this. That's why I'm taking.
still a lot of unanswered
I
questions.
understand. I'm upset as well. I share that. The concerns about the sirens are real, they are valid, and they are shared by me. And it is absolutely, we are doing our best to be transparent and forthcoming while also making sure that our focus is ensuring that it never happens again. And the safety and security and the response is our priority. We want to balance that, and we do want to answer your questions, and your questions will absolutely, they're valid, they deserve an answer, and they will get one. I just want to point out that we are triaging a whole host of things right now, and we want to be sensitive to that as well. Thank you.
And then still a lot of unanswered questions.
Questions from the public. Obviously, there's more questions other than
So, Cameron, just like Channel 4, the Post Dispatch, the mayor, we all have a lot of questions about why that failure happened. That's why we're going to continue to provide these briefings, even tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And then as we have continued to evaluate, we might be holding another briefing later today. But please understand, while there's a lot of questions unanswered, there's still a lot of leadership that needs to get done too. And that's why we're trying to limit some of this information, just because there's a lot of information we need to still gather so we can distribute it to our community. Okay?
Mitch, I'd be if there's any burning other issues, topics that we haven't touched on. Are there any other topics?
there are these holidays, females on
Yes.
the ground, and why are they there? Why they're there?
And not here. I can't speak to that. I do know that we are making those asks. We're doing everything we can to make sure that they're here, and I do have confidence that our governor is doing the same. But why FEMA is there and not here, I can't answer that. I will say that our office has been in touch directly with the White House. I know our governor spoke to the president over the weekend. These things are in motion. Why we're not getting that, I don't know. It's heartbreaking to me as well, and I want to assure everyone that we are doing everything we can to get them here. And they will be here tomorrow. Yeah. The FEMA and the state SEMA, they will be here starting tomorrow for the next 3 days to do the evaluations. In order for FEMA to have the declaration, there has to be a pretty comprehensive evaluation of the damage. And that is what they're going to be here helping us do. We have outlined as much as we can. We've had the assessor's office here since Friday night assessing the property damage. That's a big piece of it, so that FEMA can actually quantify just how extensive the damage is. We know how extensive it is. We see the damage on the ground, but it has to be quantified, and there are some procedural things that have to be done in order for that declaration to be finalized. Yeah.
The National Guard for like what they
That is something that we are evaluating. We've been working with the folks here on the ground to I understand exactly what they can do and what the need is. We also know that the ask has to be very, very specific. So as we go through, we had to do the evaluations on the structures and that sort of thing. We're putting that together, and we hope to be able to communicate what that looks like, not only what they can do, what we need, and how those things are matched in the coming day or two.
The same liaison, or is it a bigger effort? Liaison big area.
The evaluation, it's a little bit bigger than
Liaison.
yes. There's a broader set of conversations that's been occurring over the past couple of days, and that is part of it. Yes. Any other topics? We really don't want to try to not address them. But yeah, we appreciate the.
damage variant. What's your
Oh, Rachel, I can just tell you. The damage is so extensive. People have been so gracious to bring me into their homes, and there aren't words. Whole entire sides, fronts, backs, tops of homes are missing. People have wrapped their personal belongings in saran wrap, tarps. It is unbelievable what people are going through right now. There are no words to describe the feeling of hopelessness that we are doing our best to bring resources as needed. We know we are simultaneously doing a Herculaneum effort and not doing nearly enough. It's not possible to address all the needs in our community. And all I can say is that I'm so grateful for the community, what we're pulling together, what we are pulled together, and what we will continue and need to pull together in the coming days, weeks ahead. The need is absolutely astronomical, and we're grateful for the generosity that's coming out of the woodworks to step up. It is needed. Make no mistake about it. The destruction, 8 miles just in the city, touching down. That is very, very unusual behavior for a tornado. This was a heavily populated area. These are people's homes. This is everything they own, open to the elements. And you cannot overstate the destruction, the damage that was done by this tornado. Thank you.